Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shop Talk, where we chat about what's going on in our businesses right now, what's exciting, and what's challenging. When something exciting happens, we want to ensure we're taking a moment to recognize and celebrate our successes. And when things are challenging, talking through them to gather each other's perspective is often so insightful.
If you are going through any of these challenges at the moment as well, we hope that by sharing openly, you know you're not alone and that as business owners, we're all navigating this crazy journey together. Well. Long time no talk to you. I feel like it's
It
been a
has been
minute.
a while. Yeah, it has. How you doing?
I know. I mean, I feel like we both have been like in and out of the country. Well, I actually haven't been out of the country, but I've been kind of like doing some stuff and busy.
Oh,
You've been in and out of the country.
Miravalid.
Yeah. Literally, I know, I made it a verb. Like,
Miravalid.
as one does. So yeah, I have like a crazy season. You've had a crazy season jet setting around the world. And so we're finally able to connect and catch up. And we're going to just do it live. Why not? And kind of like
Yeah.
let everybody else in on the journey as well.
So, what I'm selfishly curious to hear more about is your mastermind retreat, because I think that on our last episode, you mentioned that you had signed up for it and getting started, and now you've had your in person
Yeah.
part of that journey, right? So, how many in person gatherings are there?
There's
Total?
two. So one in the
Okay.
spring and then another one in the fall. It'll be in
Okay.
October. So
Okay.
that's really an opportunity to honestly like take those 3, 4 days and just go all in, go deep. And also it's a lot easier to number one, have no focus on anything else, but then also like be in rooms with people. Like, when you just get around people and the conversations start and people are like, really pulling things out of you and you're kind of being able to like give to them. It's just a different energy and a different opportunity to crack some things open, see what rises to the top, all that good stuff. So it was good and wow, a lot. And also it's a very intense. Like I think I had about 45 minutes a day that I was like but to myself. Like
Ooh.
and I would just like go for a walk on the beach because it was like we were right on the water. But all the other times there were people in the space, there was conversations happening, which is especially for an introvert, like you can drain yourself really easily in that type of environment. So I think I came home and I was like, I didn't let my husband ask me a question for 2 days. He kept being like, "How was it? Well, do you want to tell me?" I'm like, I cannot talk. Okay, you're gonna have to wait. So
And it's also like it's so hard in that situation because those little in between conversations that are happening, in the kitchen or whatever, that's what you're there for. Like that's what you
exactly.
want. And so our introverted nature is like, I need a break. I'm going to like, get away from people, but also like, no, that's the whole purpose of an in person retreat is to like get all these in between moments and like why they're so great. So you don't want to walk away from those opportunities.
Exactly. I remember even one night there was like I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna soak in the hot tub and like listen to the sounds of the waves crash." And then two other people joined me, and I was like, "Oh, no!" But then it was like a fabulous conversation. Like it was. It was. There was so much that kind of just like came organically, and that's the point. That's the purpose. Outside of like the structured of here's what we're going to talk about, here's what we're going to learn, here's what your hot seat is about. All that is great too, but there's a lot more to events like that and spaces like that. So yeah, I'm glad that I
You
went.
feeling so like what's what where are you on the emotional spectrum from this retreat? Are you feeling like excited and energized? Are you feeling like things have come up in a way that you're just like processing or have you like are I'm just so curious to know because like other I'm sure that other folks in the room are from different industries, different
Mhm.
phases in their businesses. So I'm curious, like, what types of things are coming up for you of like, oh, I had an idea or I had some expectation of how this was going to go and is heading in that direction. Or, oh, wow, this is so much more personal and emotional than I ever expected. Like, wow, this is tough. Or it's like, oh, wow, I'm getting so much creativity and so many ideas from these other people in other industries. I don't know what to do with all these ideas. Like, is it all of the above? Like, what has been your experience so far?
I think the biggest thing that I walked away with was like, I am processing. I'm trying to kind of sort things out, make it make sense in my brain, taking in what other people can see quite clearly who maybe don't know me. And I can't just tell them like, here's how it is. Like their actual goal is to like hear, see, and analyze like and take from their experiences and their own knowledge and wisdom and kind of like, oh, well, this is what I'm seeing. Well, this is what's coming up for me when I hear you explain. And I'm like, no, I was going to like just hand you this pretty platter of like, here's my business, here's where I'm going. Just get me a little bit further along and let's be on our merry way.
You're like,
And they're
oh,
kind of like,
Brianna.
sledgehammer, let's kind of break it up and break it out and part and like see where the pieces are. And then maybe like rebuild some things and also just rebuild from like a mental approach of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Like, what is your purpose? What is your goal? Why are you doing this if it's not serving this purpose and goal? What is like your desire to hold on to this for you can't explain it. So that maybe is an indication that you shouldn't be. And I'm just like, wait a second, I did not sign up for this, but I did. So
You
I
did.
think it is the processing. It's like, in a way, it's therapeutic
Yeah.
to take yourself and put yourself in that type of situation and allow other people to speak into it. I also learned that I already knew this. I think we've talked about this before, but I'm a person that goes ham for other people's businesses and what they should be doing as well. So I felt energized and being like, oh, okay, I hear what you're doing. I hear what you're struggling with. I hear where you're kind of like selling yourself short. I hear where and feeling like I could give in that same way to other people who have different businesses, but also I can kind of see the bigger picture and know where their blind spots were as well. So I think that like the both sides were good for me to feel like I was doing something purposeful for them and also to kind of like receive what they had to give to me as well. So,
Isn't it so interesting how someone who doesn't know you very well personally, or like they've met you recently, right? Like these are all
yeah.
new connections. They haven't been on the sidelines of your business for multiple years, and they're just hearing what you're sharing, and they're watching your energy, and they're watching, where you're struggling, and they're just like, "Whoa!" Like you're saying this, but I'm seeing this, I'm feeling this, I'm hearing this, and it's like it's it's so fascinating what folks in their position see and feel from us, because I feel like we're in this position with the Advisor Accelerator sometimes,
Yeah.
is that we know all the advisors, we know their businesses, but we don't know them so intimately that we're like emotionally attached. And so a lot of tough love comes out in our calls, right? Of
Mhm.
like, hey, I see you. You keep talking about this every month. Stop that. Or like, you're saying this, but what I'm hearing is this. And so I think it's such a to be the one in the hot seat when that's happening is not easy, but it takes bravery and courage to like put yourself in the seat and kind of be open to that. So I'm sure it
100%.
wasn't easy. I'm sure it was intense.
No, I had some like I'm gonna just stew a little bit, but you're right, but I don't want to admit you're right, but I get it. It's so funny too. That one of the coaches there, like she's specifically a coach for like intuitives. So people who do really kind of like lean into their intuitive side. And so she's very hyper aware of like energy and like all, and so she freaking called me at like she's like, when you were talking about this, like you lit up, you leaned in, you did all these things, and then you go over and talk about this, your energy shifted big time. And I was like, well, there you go. I guess this is
Yep.
what you do, so whatever. But yeah, there's a lot to be learned in situations and putting yourself like in environments like this. Um, Especially because like I think I have felt a little bit stagnant. I think I mentioned this is the reason I went to begin with. The reason I invested is kind of like I'm a little bit status quo right now, which is fine. It's a nice status quo, but it could be better,
Mhm.
but it could also feel better. And learning how to say, hey, here's my goal, here's my purpose. What am I doing? All the things that are going to align to get me to where I've said I wanted to go, and how can other people help me along in that journey, keep me accountable, offer new perspective, all of those types of things, which was what I'm hoping and what I have started to kind of get out of this investment. So,
So when you are not in the hot seat and listening to other business owners, are there any like insights you've gained or just like interesting perspectives of like, I never considered that, or I never thought about it that way, like that you kind of walked away with as well from these interactions?
I think the one thing that I considered and thought through is like when people it's so easy for us in our and to see this in other people, to have like these limiting beliefs that are just like, I see it in other people's hot seats, right? Like this limiting belief that you believe, you said what you wanted, you said what your goal is, you said whether that's financial or what have you. And then like you stopped yourself on, there aren't those types of people out there. People won't pay this, people won't. And it's such a limiting belief. But I was just like, okay, well, you paid, X amount of dollars to be coached or find the right whatever. Why wouldn't other people? Like, you are not that special. And I feel like I was seeing that with a lot of people trying to be like, here's the next level they want to go to, and limiting themselves to like why it wouldn't be possible or
Right,
what
right.
wasn't going to happen for them. And you have to kind of, I guess, encourage, but also show them that like, that's just a belief. Like, that's not true. That's not like truth with the capital T. Like, you've literally just told yourself this story and then you're
Mhm.
operating from that place, which is actually not going to help you at all. You might as well, if you have the choice, operate from a place of course it's possible. Of course there's people that are going to pay that. Of course there's people who would value a service at this level and have the sophistication and the ability to invest in it. Of course, right? Like, how much more room there is in that kind of like
Yeah,
thinking and operating
yeah.
in that space versus the other one.
Yep, yep. It is so much easier to see other
It's so easier to see in
folks'.
other people.
So much easier, isn't it? And I think that we all know what our own limitations are or our own limiting beliefs are. It's just we don't always want to face them or do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's the safety that we feel and like, this is what I know. This is where I'm comfortable. Anyway.
Well, so far so good, it sounds like.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it sounds pretty intense, but I think that that's the purpose, right?
Yeah. It's the purpose. It definitely is a purpose. So I'm happy that I'm getting out of it something that it feels very purposeful. And I think it's a journey. And so where I might not have like left with the like bullet pointed to-do list that follows my exact plan that I already had, that like it's not that at all, which I'm like, ugh, a little
Yeah,
frustrated with, but
yeah.
that's the point. And so I feel like my job is to kind of like come with hands open and then like see what falls and walk away with like, okay, I'm trying to hold this. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to like move forward and trust. And so, yeah, it's kind of the place that I'm at now with all of it.
Amazing. Well, I'm always eager to hear the updates. So, hey, how was Miraval? How was your weekend Miravalin?
Oh man, I Miravaled, that's for sure.
I saw your reel. That was
I
it was great.
Thank you. It was great. I had, it was a place that's been on my radar for a while and felt like just a really like timely trip. I went with one of my best friends. We were celebrating our birthdays. And so it's a really great, like, there's so many like girlfriend birthday trips there, like so many, and then also solo travelers, a few couples, but I think it was like, it leans more female. But really a cool experience overall. Like, again, not I kind of went in there with like, here's what I'm going to do. And here's the things that I'm going to sign up for that I already know I like. And then I kind of like switched it to be like, oh, let me try something else. Let me get outside of my comfort zone. Let me do this thing that I wouldn't normally do, which is actually the point. And I got a lot from it. So that was good. The food was really good. I was surprised. You never know when the food's included, you're always kind of like, but is it going to be
Yeah.
great? Um, but actually the food was good.
I always sleep over this concern.
Like, seriously, I'm like, come on. And I love like desert landscape. I actually went to school in Tucson,
Yes,
so
me too.
I feel like it's something so different than like what we see on a day-to-day basis. So I had a really good time. And actually, like, a lot of people that even you come in contact with or have small conversations with, or they're in a workshop or a class that you're in, they're just like cool people. So
Yeah.
yeah, overall a really
How
positive
many nights?
experience. 3 nights.
Did you feel like that was a good length of stay?
It
Short,
was a
too
good
long?
length of stay, and the thing that I would suggest, because this is what I did, I, like, changed my flight on the way home to be, like, the last flight of the night, because you can get there as early like, you can get there early on the first day and, like, take part in all activities, food, etcetera, and then leave up until 5 p.m. on the day you depart and do, like, activities, food,
You
etcetera.
really have 3 full days.
So you have those 3 full days. Yeah, I could have maybe done like a day more, but I felt like I didn't, because it's such a short trip, like it's literally an hour and a half flight from where I live. It didn't feel like too short for me. If you were
Yeah.
traveling a little bit further, you might want like another night there, but
Yeah, maybe do one more night. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's cool. That's always like been curious to do like an experience like that, and I haven't. And so I should probably just make that.
It is honestly like every type of experience is undercover some sort of therapy and you don't even see it coming. So like
Agree.
yeah, you're doing this. I was doing this like, okay, let me try meditation because I can't ever shut my brain off. And so and I'm there and I'm like, I'm not doing it right. Mind's still wandering, blah, blah, blah. And they're like going through all the chakras, whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, why are my eyes leaking? Like, it's like, what is going on? This is not what is, I was just all of a sudden like, so like, it just spoke to a different part of me that I was not even prepared for. And I'm like,
Oh, those
whoa,
chakras
yeah, it was
opened up.
crazy. It's all about like, you know, I don't know. I can't like, it was something to do with love and like unconditional love and how you accept love and receive love and give love and all these things. And I just was like, oh, okay, well, there you go. And then I even did like the art class. How do you say it? Kitsugi, because you did it in actual
Yeah,
Japan.
I did it. I did it in Japan when you did it. I was like, hey,
It's
I
so
can see
fun.
that.
Well, yours is probably a little bit more authentic, but like they literally turn it into like, like you're breaking things, you're putting it back together. What it was isn't what it's going to be, but it could still be beautiful. But then it's just kind of like bringing in all like these life elements to it. And you're just like, yeah, and this is now, like literally everything is like an undercover therapy session,
I love
but
it.
really like meaningful too. So it was
Yeah,
cool.
no, I love that so much. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So, anyways, I know Miraval was still in the United States. You haven't been in the United States, but you have
I've
done some
been
cool things.
I've been traveling so much that I'm like genuinely excited to be home and have no travel plans on the calendar for the next 90 days. My assistant was like, "Do I need to add any trips to your to your signature?" And I was like, "No, none. Thank God,
Going nowhere.
none. I'm going nowhere. I'm home." Travel is so great, and also like, oof, like it's a lot sometimes.
If it's
But
disruptive to like our flow, which feels
yes,
challenging.
yeah, to life flow, to work flow, to just like it disrupts everything.
Yeah.
So if you have too much of that, then I just start feeling like really out of whack. I feel
Yeah.
behind on everything and all the stuff. So all the trips were amazing. So Duco was great. That was my first time attending that conference, and I met 3 people who listened to the podcast. It was
Woo!
really exciting.
Shout out.
I had lunch with Brittany, who was on the podcast with you.
Oh
She lives
yeah.
in Como, so she
Yeah.
was there. She found me, and we had lunch together. And I met Courtney. Hi, Courtney. And then, shoot, say first girl who came, we were at dinner together. And now I'm going to have to go back and look at that email. I think her name was Karen, but if I'm misremembering her name, I'll come back and fix it next week. I swear her name is Karen. I hope it's Karen. I hope it's Karen. But we were at the same dinner together, but we weren't at the same table together. So we like didn't even realize we were in the room until later that night. But it was honestly like it's super, super cool to do this, and we've been doing it for so long. And then to like go to a conference and be around travel advisors and to meet people who listen. And so Brittany, but I hadn't met Brittany. So that was awesome that she's been on the podcast, but I hadn't met
Yeah.
her yet. So, Brianna and I aren't out in the wild very often because we like to stay home. But if you do ever see us out in the wild, please come say
Please,
hi.
please, yeah, please. It's so funny because I think that even when I go to like lunches and or cocktail hours or whatever, when there's road shows in town, more often than not, like somebody will be like, "Oh my god, I listened to your podcast" or whatever, and it's really cool for a couple of reasons. Number one, it confirms the fact that people actually listen. And like it, right? Because it's followed up with like something positive, like I enjoy it or I get a lot out of it or blah blah blah. But also like for me, especially as as much as I'm like out in public, especially when I'm like not in a room of people like I really, really know, it's nice to just be like, oh, well, here's a friendly face. Like if I am a friendly voice
Yeah.
to you, then say hi, because then I feel like now I have a friendly face as well. And it feels a little bit less intimidating or what have you. So I always love hearing from people who listen to the podcast and then kind of put a voice to a name. Sometimes people don't even realize it's us, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's fair. You only hear my
Yeah.
voice.
No, I agree. There's a few podcasts that I listen to, and I've always wondered, like, if I saw them in real life, would I go say hi? And there was so my favorite podcast hosts, they were in Austin at the same time I was, because I was there for spring break, but South by Southwest was going on. And I found out that she was staying at the same hotel we were, but we like either didn't see each other or like didn't cross paths or whatever. But I was like, if she was in the lobby when I was, I don't think that I would be able to refrain. I would have to go say hi.
Totally. Yeah. It'd be like a
I'd just be like,
fangirl moment.
I
That's
love
so
your
funny. That
podcast so
reminds
much.
me, even when we were at Miraval, so my best friend, she kind of is like, I call her Christian famous. Like, I feel like she's famous in like faith circles. And so,
You're
yeah.
funny today.
And so I come out of like a massage and I'm meeting her by the restaurant area, bar area, and she's literally like holding court. Like she's standing in the center of like this semicircle of women who are all in their like spa robes. And I'm like, is she making friends? Like, what a weirdo. Like, why is she doing that? But like, turns out they had like heard her speak at a conference and they finally like came over to say something. And so she was like talking to all of them and like being really friendly. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I've been being nice here. Like here they are. Like they actually have been like knowing who I was, not
The whole
and
time.
not saying anything, and finally say something. I'm like, I'm just glad that I was representing myself well. While everybody else is like, oh, there she is. There she is.
Holding court. I can just imagine ladies in their robes.
Like literally in a semicircle around her. And I'm like, what is this chick doing? Of course,
Nikki,
like
what are you doing? Why? No,
leave it
stop.
to her. Yeah. We are not
Oh
talking to
my,
other people. We're here for each other.
oh my gosh. But no, Duco was good. And then I went on a 5-day intensive FAM just in Emilia Romagna because I've been scaling this
Oh,
region a lot, mostly thanks to my obsession with food. And enough clients have gone there, and more clients are going there this year that I was like, okay, I need to go like do all the things and see this for
yeah.
myself. Um, so it was really great. I really enjoyed it. I think
Did you go with a DMC or you set something up yourself?
so. It started as me setting it up myself because there just wasn't like a lot of like organization of FAMs around the conference. But then it kind of, but I did it with the DMC I work with most often. And then they were like, do you mind if we invite other advisors? And I was like, no, not at all. So then it kind of turned into a small group, which was totally fine. So I think those types of activities. So like we were going to see where they make Parma ham, where they make Parmesan cheese, behind the scenes, kind of how they make balsamic vinegar, food tastings, history tours, like all these types of things are definitely nicer in a small group
Yeah.
than like solo. So I didn't plan it as a group experience, but the way that it turned out was perfect.
Nice. And then it
Yeah.
still was kind of like the things that you wanted to do. So you weren't saying yes to like somebody else's itinerary, which is like a kind of a win-win.
Yeah, it did work out well because I planned it first and I was like, here's exactly what I want. And I was
Right.
like, just tell me how
Just
much
make
it
this
is. Like I
happen.
was
Yeah.
ready. I was just ready to pay for it. Like this is like by this point, like with FAMs and everything, like I just know what I want and I would rather just pay more to get exactly what I want than to have half the trip be like, oh, this isn't really for me. Um, and then when they asked if they could invite other advisors, I was like, sure, just don't change the itinerary because like if it changes, then
Yeah.
and that's going to like compromise my interest. You know what I mean? And they're like, no, we just want to invite a couple others to join. I was like, cool, let's do it. So that was great. Japan was incredible, everything I hoped it would be. And I will 100% go back and visit other areas, but also go right back. Like Kyoto is just amazing. We were there for 3 nights and I think I could have stayed 6. Like it's
Wow.
just like, I just really, really enjoyed it. And I think that there's a lot you can do. And it's also just a nice place to like hang out and great food. And I loved it. But then like we didn't get out into like nature very much. And like the couple little like tiptoes we took outside of these like major cities into nature, I was like, this is my happy place. Like
Mm.
when I go back, I want to try to like find more opportunities to be kind of out of the big major cities.
Mhm.
So that was an awesome trip.
By the way,
Um,
I think I told you, like, my team was like, "Well, when Whitney gets back, will she kind of do a little, like, presentation on Japan?" Japan, because it's like, oh my gosh, we struggle, man. We struggle because it's complicated, even though I know it all makes sense. It's a place that's just hard to kind of fully wrap your head around the logistics and how everything works seamlessly and what you need to pay attention to, and like we're doing so much more Japan and just not feeling super confident about our part in it. You know what I mean? And then
yeah.
DMC sometimes there's just been like not helpful. But anyway.
So I felt the exact same way before going, of just like, I think all this makes sense, but some of this feels really complicated. And so I planned my trip to Japan by myself without a DMC on purpose.
Mm,
Wanted to piece it together like we do sometimes for Europe,
yeah.
and to see, how is this planning from my perspective as a travel advisor? Newsflash, it sucks, but like it's possible.
Yeah.
Like you
There's
can
just so many
piecing to,
things.
piecing together Europe isn't great either, but like
Right.
you can do it when you need to, and that's kind of how I feel about Japan. And then I wanted to see the experience on the ground of like, is this gonna feel clunky?
Right.
And it really didn't.
Mm,
Now here's the other good news. I added up basically what I spent in Japan, of just like kind of an average per person per day kind of thing. Okay, like we did context tours and I did some black lane transfers and I booked all my own trains, and then I booked hotels direct, and then I had this tour over here that's definitely non-commissionable, but we liked it. And then this other thing is definitely non-commissionable, but we liked it. And it did like average out around like $800 per person per day, even when I pieced it together.
okay.
And so that, like, it is what it is. Like, you can have whatever opinion you want about that number, but like, that's the starting point for DMCs. And I just kind of confirmed that that's the starting point. Like, when we book things ourselves too. Now, granted, we're doing private tours, we're doing upgraded train tickets. So I'm not saying that it can't be done for less. But if you're working with a 4-star plus client looking for a certain level of service, I did not find a huge price discrepancy between piecing it together myself or working with a DMC. And that has given me the confidence to continue working with my DMC,
Hmm.
because I if I break it all apart and do it myself, I'm not going to save my clients thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a really good understanding of, okay, you know what, this is kind of just what we're working with in this destination. And I'm not, there's not like this huge price gouging. I mean, maybe with some DMCs, but just across, like, as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, I think I said little things to my DMC when I came back. So now I'm working with clients who are very similar to myself, like same age, same travel profile. Like they travel a lot for work, they travel a lot for leisure, like similar to my husband and I. And I was like, okay, a private guide for this, this, and this, but not these other things. You're going to have just as many free days as they are going to have guided days, because there's a lot to see and do during free time
Right.
in Japan. We don't need private drivers holding their hand from start to finish every day. Like they're 100% fine grabbing a taxi or taking the train, or like for example, they're going to do a day trip like Kyoto to Himeji Castle, and the guy just going to meet him at the hotel. They're going to take the train together and then go see the castle and come back. And we don't need a $2,500 private driver
Yeah.
taking them for that.
Right.
Like that's not necessary. The clients don't want it. Even if they can pay for it, they don't want you. Like that's just not what we're looking for. So going also like has empowered me to be like, now I know for sure. Yes, we want this. No, we don't want that. You know what I mean? Like these little
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Um, I would just say to you and your team, especially considering you live in Los Angeles, to just pop on over to Japan for a
I
few days.
know, I know. It really makes no
You
sense
could.
why I mean, the last time I was in Japan was before I was in the industry, and it was literally probably like 15 years ago. So there's nothing that I'm pulling from that is helping me today. And yes, to your point, I mean, I have like the easiest flight possible. So many nonstops from LA to Tokyo. It's not even funny. So,
Considering like hotels are fairly straightforward, like there's so many to choose from. Like you can literally just go to leading hotels website, you know, the big brands website. Like you can find hotels fairly, like it's fairly straightforward. So this is the thing about Japan that was different from other areas is that there's so much to see and do in Japan. And I knew that my husband and I were going to be like sun up to sundown trying to do as much as possible because we didn't have the kids and like that's unusual. Um, that we did not prioritize the hotels. I was like, I need a clean bed, a shower with warm water and water pressure, and like an edible breakfast and a good location. And
mhm,
so but even that was like $500 a night minimum.
mhm.
Like that was kind of where it started. And I would say that all the hotels that we stayed at were good. They were fine. I would put a client there and manage their expectations. So we weren't staying in places that I would like never let a client see. Like it wasn't like that. But we're not staying at places where I wanted to spend half a day just at the hotel.
Right,
Like
right.
the hotel was like functional.
So no
And
Amon Tokyo.
I did not stay at the Amman Tokyo. That does not fit within an $800 per person per day budget. Nor does Janu. I tried both. So, I mean, you can go and have that kind of trip. You don't have to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's similar to Europe. So for me, I think that Japan is similar to Europe in a lot of ways, in a lot of
Hmm,
those kind of nuanced ways. So if
very
you just pop
interesting.
over, find
Yeah.
a hotel,
Oh,
do some
yeah.
context tours, take the trains by yourself, see what that's like. It's totally fine. It's just like in Europe.
Okay. Oh, geez.
Uh,
Let me get ready
Tell
for
your
this.
team you're welcome. I
Yeah.
think I just got him a trip to Japan. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you, thank you.
Well, it's good to catch up. It's good to see you.
Yes.
It feels like things are running smooth. Feels like things are
Yes, I
good.
mean, I'm gonna be on the road now for the next couple of months, so I have my spring break trip, ours is later. We're just doing a flop in the sun trip to Gran Velas, so just expect me to be drinking
Awesome.
margaritas
In
all next
Cabo?
week. Huh? No, we're going
Cabo?
to the Puerto Vallarta one, or Riviera Nayarit or whatever it's
Now
called.
you're reach. Okay, nice.
And then, yeah, and then I'll be in South Africa for 2 weeks, so looking forward to that.
Woo-hoo!
I know. So,
That's the
yes,
best.
be following along for all that fabulous content because I am I'm being very
We'll be
intentional
watching.
with my marketing and my messaging. So, hopefully it
Yeah,
shows.
next month, I've noticed it, and like I've noticed a shift, but I've only noticed a shift because I followed you for so long. Like a follower would never notice, right? So remind me next month to ask you about like what you've shifted and what kind of results you're seeing because I'm curious to know. But tell
Okay.
me next month after your
Yeah.
trip to South Africa.
All right. Will do. Will do.
Amazing. All right. See you
All right. Enjoy
soon.
the rest of your day.